Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new then welcome. I thought today that we would do a current favorites or makeup or products on rotation type of video, and I have just been really loving a lot of stuff recently, so I thought we would go through it. I'm hitting a lot of categories today, and this is a compilation of the last, I don't know, like 5 months or so. So if you guys have any additional questions and I don't answer them here, leave them in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer those for you. The first one is going to be the Colourpop Brow Boss. This is the newer eyebrow gel that they came out with. They do have an older version. I'm not a fan of that one. This one is by far the best one. I just have this in clear. I love the little spoolie, and for me, I really enjoy the fact that this is more of a liquid wax texture, and it allows me to really put my brow hairs in place while they want to be more stubborn and droop down throughout the day. This one for sure holds them up without being extremely crunchy. I do it before my brow pen or pencil and as well as afterwards, and it works wonderfully in both scenarios. And I have been reaching for my brow pen from Anastasia Beverly Hills again. I have this one in the shade Ebony. Mine is crazy like scuffed up. This definitely does not stand the test of time when it comes to packaging, but that's okay because the product itself is just so good. I love this brow pen for really micro strokes. First of all, the shade is perfect for my brows. I do go for a cooler, more neutral black shade because my brow hairs are black. It never skips, it never tugs, and it gives you the most precise application that I have found with a brow pen so far. I don't need a ton of filling in when it comes to brow pens. I just go in where it's slightly more sparse, and this works incredibly well. A few eyeshadow products here. The Mob Beauty Liquid Eyeshadow. I picked up 2 of them, but the one I've been really loving is this one in the shade Linen. You can see right here in this little window. It's going to be more of this cream shade, and I have been loving this kind of as a base for my eyelids to put other products on top. This is a very interesting formula to me because when you first apply it to your eyelids, it almost feels oily, kind of serum-y if you will, but as you blend it out, it literally feels like nothing. A lot of liquid eyeshadows, they tend to feel like you have product on because you do, but this one, it doesn't even, it almost feels like a powder in the sense that you can't actually feel it dry down on the lids. It's very interesting. This does not have the best staying power by itself. However, if I do pair this with an eyelid primer, it works throughout the day. It looks really nice, and like I said, it's just a really nice canvas for other eyeshadow products to go on top without giving you that heavy feeling of another layer of eyeshadow product, which can be quite heavy for someone that either has more maturing eyelids or has more lines on their eyelids like I do, or someone that has oily eyelids, because a lot of product can start feeling really cakey and end up creasing really badly, but this does not do that. So this is from MAC, the Multisculpt Matte in the shade Cool Spice. Now this one has just enough pinky neutral tone to it to where I can make it work. This is beautiful on the eyelids, and it's also really beautiful sort of as a transition blush shade. I really enjoy this if I'm going in with more of a beigey blush, but I want more dimension. Maybe the beigey blush that I'm going for is slightly lighter, and without it, I have to kind of pack on color. If I put this on my cheeks first, and then I put more of a beigey blush on top, it really helps to make that blush stand out kind of, and have a little bit more of a transition shade between my bronzer or contour and that beigey blush. With that being said though, I have used this alone and it is really beautiful. It gives you just a touch of color if you have a complexion similar to mine, and I really like this on the eyelids because even though this is going to be a cooler tone, it is more on the, I would say, light medium sheer side of things, to where it doesn't look like a bruise on the eyelids. It doesn't overpower the eyelids. It genuinely just looks like a nice shadow on the eyelids, if you will. These are super, super fun from About Face. These are the Holosticks. These came out the same time as the highlighting palettes, the Ballet Beams from About Face. And I feel like no one, or not a lot of people, I should say, talked about this one. These are really, really fun because you have eyeshadow powder on one side, and they are duochromes and they're on the sponge tip. They can get quite messy, but the product itself is really good. And then on the other side, you do have an eyeshadow stick. I like the eyeshadow sticks because they feel really creamy. They're very blendable. They're not tugging on the eyelids, and they're very, very interesting shades. I have Lucid, which is by far my favorite because it has this beautiful green limey shift to it that I just have been loving. And then we have Cosmic Dust, which is a really fun sort of cooler tone, pinky, mauvey, purpley thing going on. And then of course I had to pick up Technicolor Vision because this blue is a crazy bluey iridescent shade that looks like it's almost, I don't know how to explain it. It looks like it's appearing and disappearing on the eyes, which I thought was the most interesting thing. They are definitely more interesting in terms of newer releases. While I'm very loyal to my usual mascaras, this one has definitely come into the mix. I honestly can say that I haven't loved an Urban Decay product this much since the Urban Decay Face Bond that came out in 2024. This is the Tube Job mascara, and this is going to be a tubing mascara. It has this very thin, very clean brush right here. It doesn't get clumpy. It has very thin, very short bristles, which I think works really well for the way that I like to apply my mascara, and it allows just the right amount of product to go on to the lashes. Now, I do like to go in with a separate mascara before going on top with this one. That's the best way that I have found that this works for me, and I love the definition that this gives me. This is a very dark black mascara. It gives you tons and tons of definition, slight amount of length, and a little bit of volume, but I just love how clean this looks on the lashes. It makes it look like you have a million lashes. It does not flake or smudge because it is a tubing mascara, and it's really easy to take off at the end of the day. My m.ph Underpainting Face Palette, this is in the shade Medium. They finally came out with a shade extension for the Underpainting palettes. Now, I have not seen them in person yet, so I haven't had the opportunity to swatch them, and I'm hoping that it fills the gaps, the very large gaps that there were when they first launched these. But for me, the Medium palette has been really, really great. This is one that has definitely grown on me, you guys, and as you can see, it has gotten quite messy, and I would say that I'm not a messy person with my makeup, but this one, it's kind of inevitable because you're dipping in either with a larger brush or just multiple brushes. So I definitely have to clean this one, but I have been loving this for a lot of customization because this essentially is giving me a contour, a bronzer, a concealer, and a color corrector all in one. And depending on how I mix and match it, I can use it pretty much anywhere on my face. If I need to darken a concealer, I can kind of dip into this bronzer tone. If I need to lighten something or make it a little bit more warm, I can dip more into the color corrector here. I love the fact that you have bronzers and contours and concealers and color correctors that are all the same textures, the same formulas, so they work seamlessly with each other. And I have been really loving this as a first step. I still go on top of the concealer shades with more concealer. I think that this allows me to get that color correct, and it gives me a thin veil of coverage before going in with a more heavy duty concealer, if that makes sense. I've got a ton of concealers. Actually, I have been absolutely loving my concealers recently to conceal, but also in place of foundations. I've just been loving the one step of it all. And the first one is going to be my Haus Labs Triclone Concealer. When I first tried this, I really liked it, but I realized like in the last year that I had a better shade match, so I did pick it up, and it is 24 light medium neutral, and this is perfection. I know not everyone loves the Triclone Skin Tech foundation and concealer, but I am someone that absolutely loves it. I think it works so well for my oily skin. skin, it really lasts all day and stays looking perfected on the skin. I love that more natural skin finish that this has. There's no extra dew and it doesn't overly mattify my skin, so it works really well all over the skin, but also to pinpoint and underneath the eyes. I would say that this is medium high coverage for what I typically like, and it stays put. It is beautiful, wonderful. I love it. On the lesser side of things when it comes to coverage is the Maybelline Age Rewind. When I first tried these out, you guys, I want to say like, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, I didn't really like it, but my skin was completely different back then and we were going for more full coverage and I felt like this wasn't really it, but now I can't stop reaching for these. I have this in the shade 130 and 141, and clearly 130 is going to be the one that I reach for the most. I hate the sponge tip, but I also can't commit to just ripping it off. I know a lot of people just take it off, but I don't know. I've just kept it on there. I might just rip it off one day, but it is going to be more on the light medium coverage side of things if you guys are not familiar with this already. But I love the way that this just feels very much like skincare. It's not heavy, it doesn't dry out the skin, it doesn't feel overly greasy, but it does give you slight hydration. This is beautiful all over the face as a replacement for foundation, but it's also really great for just the under eyes. It doesn't emphasize any lines or any textures that I have under the eyes, and it just makes you look awake and brightened, and it's really, really nice, very lovely. And you can go quite heavy-handed with this without fearing that it's going to look heavy on the skin. But I do have to set this. This definitely is one that's going to crease if you are someone that requires powder. Next is the LYS concealer, and I got this in the shade MN5, and this is a beautiful brightening concealer for myself. It is slightly lighter, but under the eyes, once it's blended out, it is the perfect amount of yellow neutral for me to where under the eyes, it's such a natural brightener. I am a neutral undertone, but I do lean slightly warm. So when something has a little bit of yellow like this, it works so well for underneath my eyes, because then it doesn't look like I just took a really, really bright concealer that doesn't belong there. This is one that feels very, very similar to the Maybelline one, except I kind of feel like this dries down better than the Maybelline one, and this has slightly more coverage. I'm so happy to have this. I love LYS complexion products. They are just some of the best complexion products out there. And then of course we have the Essence Silky Blur concealers. So I have 180 and 160, and 180 is going to be a closer match to my skin tone, so I love to use this all over the face. I'll use this under the eyes and all over the face to conceal, and then I'll top it with 160 under the eyes if I want a little bit more brightening. And I will say that online it does look like 160 would be my perfect match, but 180 is actually way better. This is a funny doe foot. It is going to be a very, very thin doe foot here, as you can see, and it holds the product pretty well. It's also going to be more of a thin consistency, but this one out of the thinner concealers that we're talking about here today is going to be the one that dries down the most matte for me, but it doesn't look drying again, and it just makes your skin almost look airbrushed. And it's very important for me to have a concealer that sets down really well with powder, because sometimes they just don't mesh. These have done wonderfully with all of my powders. It looks beautiful. Like, this is so worth the money. I would highly recommend, if you can find your shade, to go out and try those. The only foundation that I could really say has truly been on rotation for the last couple of months and has been a true favorite has been the Dior foundation stick. I have this in the shade 3N, and I've had this for quite some time, and really I don't think that this has ever really left my rotation since I've gotten it. It's a very easy one to reach for if I'm looking for higher coverage, or if I need something that's going to stay all day, look more like a satin matte, and it's going to be something that's like very, very no fuss. You don't have to really wait for this to dry down, because it is going to be more on the mattifying side, but it also doesn't emphasize texture. It doesn't sink into my pores or my fine lines. It really does just give you this veil of coverage, but it's like perfect coverage. This does lean a little bit more olive than my actual skin tone, so it's not a perfect match, but I'm able to kind of finagle it with different concealers and powders and stuff. I hate the floral scent, but not enough to make me not use it because the product itself is just so good. My Onesize translucent loose powder, I don't know why it took me this long to try this out, but I've had this in my collection for a long time. They sent this to me sometime early last year or maybe even in 2024, and I only recently in the last, I want to say 6 to 8 months or so, started to reach in for this, and it's so good. I think I was a little scared. I think I was scared of how mattifying this seems, but it's perfect for long filming days or days where I just need to make sure that my oils are controlled and they're not just like taking over my face. I will say that over some complexion products, it can go a little bit gray. Like for instance, if my foundation or my concealer is a little bit too dark, it definitely will look too dark. So I have to make sure that if I use this, I go in with light layers and I'm going in with the correct shades. You would think that's common knowledge, but you know, sometimes when I am more pale, I try to make my summer shades work for me because I don't want to go buy another shade. Super mattifying. It gives you a lot of airbrushed coverage almost, and I do just have the translucent and I'm very happy with that. I will say that if you aren't that oily, maybe you have more normal skin that slightly gets oily, go in with a light amount, maybe just dust a little bit of this on. Let's talk about some blushes. So Kosas Blushes Life in Wavelength. This one has been, oh my goodness, probably a holy grail, not just a favorite, current favorite type of thing. Since I got this has been a beautiful shade that I just cannot stop reaching for. It looks incredibly bright here in the pan, and it is a very bright shade, but the fact that this is a baked blush makes it come off a lot more sheer. It's just warm enough and it's just deep enough to where it just creates this super natural flush on my cheeks, but it still looks like I'm wearing blush. You know how sometimes you want a blush that doesn't look like blush, it just looks like a natural flush? This looks like blush, but in a very natural way, if that makes sense. It is the perfect shade, the perfect tone to really just bring out the warmth in my skin, and I love this formula because it never makes my skin look flat matte. It does have a little bit of like this very subtle baked sheen to it that makes it just look so at home on the cheeks. Of course, you guys know that I've been really enjoying more of these plushy, bouncy blushes, and the Glossier blushes in the shade Float and in the shade Gale have been my go-tos. I just love this formula, you guys, specifically from Glossier. I think that they perfected this formula. It has just the right amount of pigmentation. It blends out seamlessly on the skin. It gives you that very blurred matte look, but it also has a little bit of a sheen to it. You can kind of see it whenever I'm moving it back and forth here in the light, and it doesn't emphasize any of the hyperpigmentation or freckling that I have on my skin underneath. I have used this on top of liquid and creams, and I also have used it on top of powder, which is my preferred method if I'm going for more coverage, because this clings to powder really well. And don't be afraid of the word cling. By cling, I mean it benefits from sitting on top of powder because it has more of that matte finish that it can go on top of. Sometimes when you use a cream on a cream, it can sort of shear it out because it blends into each other a little bit too much, but having that layer of powder allows the blush to just pop a little bit more. I did put this on today, and you can see the blush, but it's not too much. And Float is one that I wasn't really sure about in terms of shade, because you guys know deeper, cooler shades, they don't really mesh with my skin tone. But this, once it goes on the skin, because it is slightly more on the sheer side of things, it has just the right amount of warmth for a more cool shade to where it doesn't look bruisey on me. It really just looks like a perfect, I don't know, mid-tone berry shade. And kind of on the same note, we have the MAC Glow Play Blush in the shade Blush Please. The first one I had of this was in Ginger or Ginger Luck or Gingerly. I can't remember the name of the Glow Play blush, but this one in Blush Please I picked up during the 21 days of Ulta sale, and this was 50% off. Such a good deal. This shade is going to be definitely one of those shades where it looks like more of a natural blush. One, because of the sheen to it. It does have that same creamy bouncy blush sheen, and it is slightly more sheer. It is going to be more of a cream that just builds on top of itself in such a beautiful way. And I feel like everyone that I've seen this shade on, it looks great on everyone. I will say that the Glossier ones do have more pigmentation. This one I do have to build up a little bit more. The Milani Silky Matte Bronzing Powder in the shade number 3 Suntan. Wow, this is such a good bronzer. Now I know everyone loves the baked bronzers from them, and I also love those bronzers, but this one is gonna be the one that is the most similar to my beloved LYS bronzing powder, in the sense that this is not going to deposit too much product at one time. It really allows you to build it up. This shade, while it does look like it's going to be too light for my complexion, when you build this onto the skin, it just gives the most natural bronze. It's more of this neutral tone when it comes to a bronzer, so it almost looks like a slightly warm shadow. Because of the sheerness of the product, it never gets heavy, it never looks cakey, it doesn't get patchy. Now this one does have talc, I will let you guys know, but I think that that allows this to blend like butter, and there's no patchiness to it. You need such little product to get the perfect amount of bronze. One of the best drugstore bronzers that I've been able to find thus far. Next is a product I was not quite sure about when I first tried it out, and it is the Haus Labs Precision Sculpt Shaping Balm in the shade Silhouette. Now I was between two shades, and I still do think that I could use two shades because it does seem like the products or the shade range is quite flexible, but Silhouette, I have learned, has been such a beautiful contour that is not an aggressive contour. As you can see, it's quite cool, but it is a cool brown versus being more of a gray tone. I find that cool browns are the best tones for me when it comes to a contour, because anything that is even remotely gray, it just looks so bad on me. I was a little bit skeptical about this at first because I felt like it almost blended into nothing, but I've learned that that is almost its strength. It allows you to build on top of it in such a lovely way, and this feels like it blends into a powder, so you don't have to worry about the product clinging to itself as you're layering it on top. It's such a subtle, such an easy contour to work with. It's almost so natural and undetectable that you might be like me and say, I don't know if this is doing anything. But luckily I looked back at the footage and I was like, wow, that really gives such a natural contour. I finished up the travel size of this, and I purchased the full size during the Sephora sale because I cannot get enough of this setting spray. This is the Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm, and truly a game changer. So innovative. This does have Upslite, which is going to be that featured ingredient that kind of sucks up the oils as you wear your makeup, you know. This works so incredibly well with the Danessa line, you know, the blurring balm and the liquid powder serum, all those things. It works in tandem with all of those. But if you don't want to use any of those, or if you don't have them, this still gives you that same beautiful oil controlling look that those do. This doesn't feel like a hairspray on the skin. It feels undetectable whenever you put it on. It has a really beautiful mist. You do have to shake it up because it does have like that powder ingredient in there, and that mist is really beautiful. Like, it gets the skin really nicely. You really don't need a lot of this, but also if you are heavy-handed with it, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing negative happens if you use too much of this. I think that this, and also the One Size, I'm testing this today actually, you guys, the One Size Oil Sucker, this makes me excited about the future setting sprays, let me just say. Let's talk about some lip liners. The Kulfi, what are these? Lassi Lips Staining Lip Liners. I have the shade Flames, which I purchased during the Sephora sale, and Chori Chori, which they had sent to me when these first launched. Chori Chori is going to be more of this muted rose cool tone shade, while Flames is going to be slightly more warm and definitely right up my alley. I love both of them for different uses. I love Chori Chori to kind of outline and define the lips. I like Flames for a more natural lip liner. Beautiful. These are so incredibly creamy. I almost worry about how quickly I'm gonna go through these, but what I love about them is that they do dry down quite a bit, but even after they kind of fade, you are left with a little bit of a stain. Now I know that the stain underneath this is quite pink for a lot, like most of them. It comes off very, very pink. What they explained was that the color and the stain are supposed to work in tandem with each other. So even though it has more of that pinky base, it's because it allows the actual color to fade more gracefully, I guess. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but you can see the stain is quite different from the actual lip liner. But I can assure you guys that when you wear this on a regular day, just as you would a regular lip liner, it fades so well and it leaves a little bit of the actual color as well as a little bit of that pinky stain, but I don't mind it because at that point I'm already reapplying anyways. I feel like the stain is sort of like a failsafe, like if I can't get to it, at least I'll have a little bit of definition still on the lips. And then something that I've just been loving this. I got this around Black Friday. So this is the Kosas Lip Liner or Hot Liner in the shade Infinite, and it's such a beautiful warm rose shade to just outline the lips and really define them. And also it's a really nice shade to further fill in the lips. And it does have a brush. I love the brush on this. It's so easy to use and you can really blend out the lip liner before it sets down, because it definitely sets down, and it does have a little sharpener underneath that. I just cannot get enough of this shade. It works so well for my complexion and it just goes with so many different lip products that I want to put on top of it. This has really great staying power, by the way. I would say that this is definitely a long-lasting lip liner out of the ones that I've been using recently. I have the Makeup Forever Wherever Walnut, a classic, you guys. I've had this in my collection for a really, really long time and I never really reached for it, I'm not gonna lie, because Anywhere Caffeine was definitely overshadowing Wherever Walnut, but I recently reached for this again and wow, it's beautiful. So as a swatch here, it looks very, very cool, right? Like it almost looks like this cool taupey shade with a little bit of pink to it, but on my lips, it translates more as a warm rose shade and it really blends into my lips so well, and I've been loving it as a slightly deeper warm rose for my more pinky shades because I've been loving a pinky lip recently. And I do really quickly want to talk about the Sephora collection lip pen stains. This one is in the shade Cocoa Swipe and these are so good. I don't think enough people are talking about these, you guys. So it has that same exact felt tip that the NYX ones do. So I mean, if you like the NYX ones, you probably don't need these. But I love this shade and I did want to test this out to just compare it to the other lip pen stains out there, and it truly is so good. This shade right here is going to be a beautiful contour shade, as you can see right here. It's almost like this almond shade, but it's not too light and it's also not too dark. So on the lips, it's perfect for defining the lips and kind of creating a little bit of a contour shadow type of thing. And then I like to go on top of it with a regular lip liner or something, but this just gives me, again, kind of like the Kulfi one, it gives me the insurance of a lip stain once my lip combo has faded. Oh, and I want to talk about a little bit of lip prep and a lip scrub. So my Vaseline, this is the Creme Brulee one. I think this came out around the holidays. I've been using this every night and it's just a game changer. You guys, I don't know why I never used Vaseline just to hydrate my lips, but hello, it works. And the Maed lip scrub, this is a really good lip scrub. So it does have this little dropper applicator, not dropper, I don't know exactly what to call this, but you squeeze the product out here and it's going to be more of like a sugar scrub, but it's in sort of like a balm almost, but it's not too balmy. The ratio of scrub to balm is perfect. There's enough scrubby bits to it where it actually feels like it's scrubbing the lips. And I typically like a lip scrub that's more abrasive, like the Lush ones. I love those. I have one in my shower, but this is great if I want to scrub my lips, but also add a little hydration, like not have to worry about going in with a separate product to hydrate the lips. You're supposed to be able to completely scrub this into the lips, and then the little beads are supposed to disintegrate essentially and just turn into a bomb. I don't find that happens with this for me. I have to wipe away the lip scrub, but I am still left with that more hydrating film, and I think it's really good. And lastly, for lip product, the Vanngo Lip Hue. This is the glossy lip hue in the shade Bilingual. I've not been able to put this down, you guys. It's a lip balm, lip gloss, lip treatment hybrid. I don't know. You know how every lip product is literally everything all the time now. This does feel nourishing like a balm. It actually stays on the lips, you guys. It doesn't fade. I would say that this one has staying power similar to the Edam ones, and this has a very strong pigmentation, but it's still slightly sheer. I love that it's a pink that still works for my complexion. It does go a little bit warmer. It doesn't sink into my lip lines like some more light pinks can, and this just feels so comfortable. I have taken a nap in this and I wake up and it's still in place and it's shiny and it is gorgeous. I wore this to a wedding recently and I love this. This is definitely going up to holy grail status very quickly. Now we're moving into skincare, guys. These are going to be ones that I've been loving them. So this is an eye wash. This is from Japan. I can't tell you the brand. I will link it if I can find it online, but I saw someone talking about this on TikTok and a reel, and my husband was going to Japan for work. So I was like, hey, can you pick one up for me? He actually picked up 2 for me. And look, I'm almost out. That's all I have left, and I'm kind of panicking because I don't think that I can go without this anymore. So essentially it has this little container and you put this over your eye. You fill it up with the eye wash and then you cover your eye and then you tilt your head back and you just blink a bunch of times, and I cannot tell you guys how many eyelashes, how much makeup gunk has come out of my eyeball. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. And this is kind of like, you know, the Roto eye drops where it's minty. Feels like that, but it's not crazy minty where it's scary. Well, the first time I used it, I was a little bit scared, but since then it has become such a refreshing feeling. It wakes me up in the morning. It makes me feel invigorated. It just clears out all of the gunk, like all of the eye boogies. Like I said, the eyelashes, the leftover makeup that may have made its way into my eyes. Oh my goodness. It's incredible. I love it. There's different kinds. I have the yellow bottle as well, but I don't know. The pink one I think is the original one. I need to restock on this. It's so good. And especially if you have allergies, you guys, I can only imagine how refreshing and soothing this would feel on your eyes. A lash serum. You guys know that I was using the Babe Original Lash Serum for years and years and years. I want to say over 5 years I was using them, and it works. It is a great lash serum and it grows your lashes, it keeps them strong, the retention is great. But I wanted to test out this one from Educated Mess because this is a lash and brow enhancing serum, and it does not have, what is it called? Hold on. Prostaglandin analogs. So those are the ingredients that can irritate the eyes. So if you've ever used a lash serum that kind of creates a dark line where you apply it, maybe you get irritated eyes or something, this is formulated without any of those ingredients, and I have not had any adverse reactions. You guys can see I'm probably halfway done here, and I purchased this when this first launched. So I want to say at the beginning of September, and since then I've been using it, and you really don't have to take any breaks, correct me if I'm wrong, because it doesn't have any terrible ingredients in it that can cause adverse reactions if you use it for a prolonged amount of time. But I have kind of slowed down the amount I use it just because I feel like my lashes look pretty good now. I'm happy with the results. I think they have definitely helped with the length as well as the retention of my lashes staying put without falling out. And I was using it in my brows, but you guys, I think it was breaking out my brows for some reason. Like I was getting pimples around my brows. I don't know if it was the brow products I was using or this one, but it hasn't happened since I stopped using it in my brows. I don't know why I haven't talked about this sooner. This is the Shark LED mask. I've had this since I think mid-October maybe, and I have used it ever since then. And I also documented it. I meant to do some shorts and I meant to do some videos, you guys. I completely failed on it, but I wanted to thoroughly test this mask out. And I love it. Like this has been my favorite mask that I have been using, and I use it, I kid you not, every single morning. every single morning without fail. I can even show you actually. So you turn it on, there she goes. And then you can go to the routine or you can toggle down to your progress. There was, I think, 2 weeks where I was traveling and I did not bring this. I'm not kidding you guys. I had a pimple every single day that I was gone, and I documented it. I will show you guys here because I was preparing to do a video, a short on it, but I never did. I cannot explain to you guys how this mask has made my skin so reliably smooth and acne free. Granted, I still get pimples and stuff, but this will heal it quicker. And I also feel like the spots are not as aggressive. So you can see I've had 164 total sessions. And then as you toggle down, it'll show you the different routines you've done, because you have the red light for aging. I've done 72 sessions. Skin clearing, I've done 44 sessions. And skin sustain, which is going to be essentially a 4-minute treatment that you do, which is the one that I do in the mornings if I'm not looking for anything specific. 48 sessions. I love the cooling chill eye things. I feel like it helps in the morning. And I also have the attachments on here because I do have a flatter face, so this definitely helps to contour under my eyes. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I was using the Current Body one before, which works so well, and that's going to be more of the soft LED mask. But the thing is, they have the LED, the anti-aging one, and then they have the acne one as separate masks. And this one is a 2-in-1. This is the best strap. I don't have to worry about this falling off my face. I don't have to worry about cleaning this as much because it's not touching the skin, and it's still just as effective. I know that there is some discourse about LED masks having to touch the face, but if the lights are strong enough, you don't necessarily need it to touch the face. I think it's incredibly comfortable. It's not super heavy, and I just love the adjustments. I can put it on top of like a towel if my hair is wet. I truly feel like this is the mask for me. That could change because I'm constantly testing different masks, and it's not sponsored, by the way. Okay, let's move on to hair care. I will be the first to admit that when it comes to hair care products, I kind of can't tell a difference right away. Or if I can tell a difference right away, I'm like, oh, that means it's really good. It's harder for me to really understand the nuances, I guess, when it comes to hair care products. And this is one of them. But this is something that I can truly say, now that I've gone through probably more than half of this, I really like it. This is the Crown Affair leave-in conditioner. It is going to be that cream texture. I pump maybe 4 pumps in my hand, and then I rub it in and I just smooth it into my hair. I love the smell of this. It smells so clean and so fresh, and it's not overbearing. It's not giving me a headache throughout the day. It feels like a very lightweight leave-in conditioner. It doesn't weigh my hair down, and I actually feel like when I put this into my damp hair and then I dry it, it makes it much more sleek, much more manageable as well, like directly after drying my hair. And it doesn't poof up, it doesn't look frizzy or anything, but it also doesn't look weighed down or greasy because the leave-in is so lightweight. As well as this is the Act+Acre 4% niacinamide oily scalp serum. I have an oily scalp that goes well with my oily face. I have to wash my hair probably every other day if I want to avoid oil, but I can kind of extend that, and this really helps me to extend that. And as it says, it does have niacinamide in it. Beautiful dropper, by the way. It's so effective, and it actually holds the product really, really well. I go in with about 2 pipettes of this, and I'll just go along my hair, and I'll push down and just evenly apply this throughout my hair after I wash it on damp hair, and then I'll just massage it in. And I do feel like this helps to keep the oils a little bit more at bay. I can go an extra day at least when I use this, and it doesn't feel heavy. Again, it doesn't feel drying. It's not irritating on the scalp. It's so nice, and it's such a big bottle. I'm really enjoying this one. And lastly, I have a new shampoo and conditioner. It's so gross looking. I'm sorry. It's been in there for quite a while. These are the Redken. Oh, there's water coming out of the cap. I'm just gonna hold this one upside down. The Redken Acidic Color Gloss Sulfate Free Shampoo and Conditioner. This took me a while to really figure out how I felt about it. So it's definitely going to be one of those shampoo conditioner sets that feels like it has more protein than it does have hydration. I can't say for certain. I actually haven't looked at the ingredients. Yeah, I think there's a good amount of protein in here. It does make the hair almost seem more defined, if that makes sense. And it smooths the hair, makes it super manageable. And I do feel like it keeps my color from getting too coppery. The scent is okay. It took me a second to get used to. It's not something that I'm like dying over, but the product itself works really, really well if what you're looking for is to protect the color, and it lathers really well. Ooh, I love a shampoo that lathers well. And lastly, I want to talk about a couple of body care products. So you guys really enjoyed my little tip about adding oil to body butters, and you guys were asking for more of my body care favorites. If you have KP, if you have any bumpies on your body whatsoever and they're stubborn and you want a quick fix, or you want something that's going to help, that's going to work, this is what you need. This is the Naturium, the Glow Getter Multi-Oil Body Wash and Butter. If you guys are familiar with Naturium, they do have specific body washes that have specific active ingredients that help with things like acne, dark spots, and even tone, that help with breakouts, that help with dehydration. This is just simply a multi-oil body wash, and something about this, it says it has gentle surfactants plus linoleic rich oils, fermented squalene, and glycerin. Something about this completely gets rid of the KP on my arms. I was dealing with a lot of like the KP stuff going on around the winter time. I could not for the life of me figure out how to get rid of it. Things like the First Aid Beauty KP Body Scrub help to make it less noticeable, like soften and smooth the skin, but not necessarily get rid of the issue. Whenever I feel like I'm getting bumpy, I will use this combination for a couple of days, and specifically right here, I get really bumpy. They're gone. Like, it's smooth, it's manageable, it's not itchy or irritated or anything. I think it just really, really hydrates the skin. Speaking of body washes, guys, don't laugh at me because mine broke. This is the Cyclar body wash in Sacred Santal. Smells incredible. It fell off of the shelf in my shower and my pump broke, but I'm still using it because I mean, I have this much left and I'ma use it. I will say that this doesn't leave as much of a film as the Naturium one, but it still leaves a hydrated film. This kind of comes out like a jelly texture. It's almost goopy, but it lathers so well. The scent of it is beautiful. It's that Sacred Santal scent, if you're familiar. You can sniff these now at Sephora. I think that this is such a luxurious body wash. It really does feel like it's just enveloping you with a cloud, like a bubble bath almost, but in the shower. It feels so lovely. It doesn't leave the skin stripped. It smells so nice. It really does linger for quite some time. I love the Cyclar line. Speaking of the Cyclar line, I picked up the Vanilla Verve In Shower Body Oil Balm during the Sephora sale. I'm dumb, you guys, and I thought that the body cream was the same thing as the In Shower Body Balm. It's not. It's a separate product. I tried using the cream in the shower one time and I was like, I don't know what everyone's talking about. It's not absorbing into the skin the way I thought it would. It was a lotion. I was putting a lotion on to wet skin. Anyways, this is the balm. You do put this on to damp skin. So what I like to do is after I shower, while I'm still in the shower, I'll kind of, you know where you windshield wipe your body like that. I'll do that. I'll do this. And then I'll go in, I'll put like a good amount of this onto the palm of my hands, rub it in, and I'll just do a quick little swipe all over the body. And then after a couple seconds, I'll go in with my towel and I'll just pat it. Beautiful, beautiful. I used to use the Nivea In Shower Lotion, the Jergens In Shower Lotion. I used to use those all the time. And then I just kind of stopped using them, but this has really kind of brought me back to that era. I love it when I don't want to fuss with a lotion or a body butter. It's more of this warm, comforting vanilla versus a cupcakey one, in my opinion. But I do worry that I'm gonna go through this a little bit fast, but you don't need a lot for your entire body, so that is nice. Okay, lastly, I know this video is incredibly long. Thank you for sticking around with me, you guys, but I want to talk about these Italy towels. This one is a glove from Nera. They sent this to me years and years ago. I can't even remember when, but they They sent this one along with the tan one, which I think is more for sensitive skin. I had seen a video where people were talking about this. This is an Italy towel and it's very popular in Korea. I got this from the Asian market. So it comes with 4 pieces here. So you put your hand in there. It's just a little glove. And in the picture, she's using it on her face. I wouldn't use it on my face, you guys. I think that's a little abrasive. I had used the Nero one with the foam in the past and I thought it was good. It left my skin really nice and soft and exfoliated. And then I saw a video where people were talking about how you're supposed to use these Italy towels. I looked it up. It is made of the same thing. So if you don't want to buy the Nero one, you can go to your local Asian market and pick this up. 4 pieces. I think I got this for, I don't know, $4 or $5. Super inexpensive. It's going to last you a long time because you can reuse it. This is how you do it, okay? You're going to get in the bath. Super hot water. As hot as you can tolerate. It has to be where you kind of like dip your toe and you're like, oh, it's a little hot. And you have to slowly like sink into the bath, you know what I mean? It has to be that hot. You're gonna sit in there 15, 20 minutes. I think I did 20 minutes. I flipped around like a rotisserie chicken because I don't have a big tub. So I flipped. Every couple of minutes I was doing that. Really, really soaking the skin. You don't need any other product, okay? And then you're gonna go in either with your Nero towel, if you have it, or your Korean Italy towel, if you have it, and you're just gonna scrub the crap out of your skin. And not like, was it circular motions or is it back and forth motions? I think it was back and forth motions. And you're just gonna go to town, scrubbing. And I'm not kidding you guys. When the dead skin was rolling off of my body, I was shocked. I was stunned. Not that I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't expecting that much. Oh my gosh, I was standing in a pile of my dead skin, essentially. It's crazy. It's crazy. Ugh. It was gross. And also it's like residual product and stuff like that. You know, it's a mix of that. But I was scrubbing, you guys. I was sweating. I was dripping sweat with the amount that I was scrubbing. I could go for another little scrub. Gosh, if you guys have not tried it, please try it. If you love a good scrub, oh, this is gonna change your life. Crazy. All right, you guys, that was everything. Those were all of my current rotation products, all of my current favorite products. Please let us know in the comments down below what your current favorite products have been for the last 6 months. And of course, as always, if you guys want to watch another one of my videos, I'm gonna leave one right here for you in case you want to see anything else from me. But until next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.